Hi everyone, today we got a clog in one of our 3D printers. That's Prusa number 2. It seems like it's a pretty big clog, so we'll be working on it to how to fix it. So we turned the printer off yesterday after we realized that it's a big clog. And today, so we'll be starting with turning on the printers, then heating up the nozzle to the appropriate temperature. That's 215 degrees Celsius. And after that, we'll be trying to take off the clog if that allows us. If not, then we may have to replace the whole hot end. But if we realize that some wires are fractured, the hot end is okay, we'll try to just replace the wires. Alright, so we're going to be turning on the printer. That's the first step we're going to follow. And it seems like the printer has turned on for now. And yeah, now we're going to just try to preheat it and have it to a particular temperature that's been automatically adjusted by the printer. This is the PLA, the filament that we use for that. It's going to heat up, the nozzle going to heat up to 215 degrees Celsius, and same for the bread, it's 60 degrees, and we'll wait. So we got a temperature of 215 degrees Celsius for the nozzle. Now we'll try to take the filament apart from the extruder. So we got a little plier in here that would help us to take the filament apart. So let's do it. So we'll just grab the filament from here, and it doesn't seem like it's going to take apart easily, but it seems like the filament is pretty solid in there because it has already grabbed the whole hot end. So in that way, I guess we may need to heat up the nozzle a little bit more, since the standard temperature is 215 degrees Celsius. So we may heat it up to 250 or maybe 270 if it doesn't work. So let's do it. So we're gonna just press the button in here and go to the settings, and in settings we're gonna go down to the temperature. Here's the standard temperature for the nozzle. Right now it's been set to the 215. We're gonna hit it, rotate it, and we're gonna hit it to the 250 degree Celsius, and we got it. Just press the nozzle and we're gonna wait a little bit more and see how it works. So as you can see right now, when the temperature is already been heated, the nozzle is already heated up to 250 degrees Celsius. It seems like some filament is blowing off, and we are able to take it apart. So we're gonna just take all the filament apart if it allows us, because that's the cylinder over there. It's a steel cylinder which does get heated up with the hot end. So we're gonna take this thing apart, but still it doesn't seem like it's gonna get off. So we're gonna heat up the temperature a little bit more. Right now it's 250 degrees Celsius. We'll just change back to the 270 then. Now we're gonna try again to take off the filament from the extruder. So it seems like some part of the extruder is letting us to take off the filament, but still at the very lower end, it doesn't really want to get off. So, and see, you will also realize there is some smoke coming off from the extruder, but which is absolutely all right. It won't catches the fire until it's been heated to the extreme temperatures. 280 degrees is absolutely fine for that. So it doesn't seem like we would be able to take the filament apart after heating up the nozzle temperature. So in this kind of case, we may have to take the whole extruder apart, and then we will take the old clog off and we will install the new hot end for that. Alright, so we got our tools in here. It's a handgun screwing machine, which would help us to take the screws off the extruder, and also just make sure you just set the temperature back to the 215 degrees Celsius so that you don't burn yourself while using it. And also just make sure the nozzle is already heated, it's already preheated, it is not cold. Otherwise, you may end up fracturing the wires, and also may fracturing some parts of the 3D printers. So we'll be bringing the printer a little bit to the front so that we can work on it easily. And the first thing we're gonna be doing in bringing the extruder apart, it would be just taking off the fan. So there are these two little screws in here attached to the fan. We'll be taking them off with this screwing machine. So we'll be taking it apart. As you can see, some screws are taking apart, so you can just take it off with your hand. And also just make sure you don't touch the nozzle because it's heated right now. It's already preheated. You may end up burning your hand with that. So this is the second screw that we need to pull off. So now the fan is already all good for right now. We don't need to do it. And the second part would be like taking off the screw from the back of the extruder. So there are some screws, if you see right here at the back. We need to take these two screws off, which would help us to take apart the motor. So let's do work with this one. Yep, the first one is done. I'll be doing the second one. It's right over there at the top. So we'll be taking that off easily. So this one is all done. So now we got like 2 more screws we have to do. So it will be in the front. So there is a 1 screw right here. We need to take that off. Let's do it. This one right here. Yep, we need to just pull it up. Yep, this one is all done. Now there is a 1 screw on the left side of it at the same side. Let's do that one in. Just make sure you don't break the wires in. Yep, just take it off easily. Perfect. So we got the screws off from the extruder. Now I'll be taking off this machine, the motor first. Let's take it off. So we can take it off and put that in the back so that we don't hurt it. And the second thing we want to do is to just take this thing apart, but since the filament is already sticking to it, it may be a little bit difficult at this time of doing it, but once there is no clog, you can pretty easily do it. It seems like the wires for the fans are alright, it's not been fractured, and same is for the motor. These colorful wires are okay too. So it's just something is clogged, it's around the hot end. So we'll be taking it apart. Let's work on it and see we are able to do a little bit of it. Let's use the plier for that. Alright, so we got the plier in here. I'm going to try to just pick it up, just grab it and take it off. And see, some of the filament has already melted in there. It was the one that was outside of it, and we are able to take it off. We'll make sure that the wires may not fracture while we work on it. There will be a little bit of smoke that you can see, which is totally okay. It won't catch fire with that. And now we will be taking this whole stuff off, and see, we are able to take off the clog. And yep, we got the clog off. So now since the big clog has been removed from the hot end, so we'll be working on to first of all taking this filament apart, which already is inside of the hot end. We'll take this apart by going to some certain settings. So just hit this button, we'll go down to the unloading the filament, hit that, and it will let us to take off the filament easily. It will just do that immediately. And we'll press the nozzle. It doesn't seem like that it let us to take it off. So we have to apply a little bit of pressure, and yeah, we got a success. So now we will carefully taking the hot end apart from the other parts so that it doesn't get any dirt on it. So we just have to remove the dirt that's right in here. If you see that, it's just the filament that was melted all around it. So we need to take all that off. For that we'll be using these paper towels, but make sure you handle the nozzle carefully so that you don't burn yourself, because the nozzle is already been preheated to the 215 degree. That's a lot. So as you can see that with the paper towels, we are easily be able to take the filament off from the hot end. Just do that nice and slow. Be careful. And also try to just take off a little bit from the wires on this side. A little bit from the wires. Make sure you don't apply any pressure on that, so that the wires don't get fractured. A little bit in here, and a little bit from the top of the on the side of the extruder. Just take that apart with the plier. So that's been pretty much done. So yeah, we are able to remove the another clog in here, a little, which was attached to the one of the side of the printer. So everything else is all right. It's just the a little bit at the bottom of the nozzle, if you can see it. Just make sure you do that carefully. Clean it, and you can also use the other tools if you want. Just do that nice and slow, no pressure. A little bit from the sensor. Yep. Yep, should be okay. And make sure you use the microfiber cloth to hold the sensor with the other hand. Don't touch it with the naked hands. Yep, everything else is all right. There is some cleaning that's been required around the wires. So try to do that with the plier a little bit on that side where we can't reach, or you can have the wires apart while you are working on it. So you're gonna do a little bit at the end, just carefully so that we don't that's hot. Yeah, that part is done. This one is okay. The front part looks pretty good, and I guess it should be okay. For the hot end, our fan is working. We didn't fracture any wires today. It seems like the temperature is still 215, which means that the hot end is still working. Bed temperature is 60 degrees, everything is all right, no error so far. Now we'll work on assembling the printer back. All right, so we got a third piece of tool in here, which would help us to take the wires apart so that we can clean up the hot end carefully, to just clean it up thoroughly. So let's do it. For that, there's a small clip right at the bottom. So we'll try to just cut it up. If you can see it, the black thing, we'll try to take it off. Yep, just make sure you don't cut the wires in that case. It's been taken off. We'll take it off. So this is right here. And now we can see there is still a little bit of dirt on the hot end. So we will just work on to clean that dirt, but we'll be making sure that we don't fracture any wires. Otherwise we have to replace the wires or maybe the full hot end. So we'll work on it. Let's do it. So again, holding the top of the hot end with the microfiber cloth so that you don't burn yourself. And in this scenario, we can try to rotate this thing, the cylindrical thing. Just unscrew it and we got it apart. So still it has a little bit of dirt, so we can try to take it off with that. So we already got a cloth in here. It's a little bit hot. Hold it with this and we can clean it up. So yeah, it looks pretty good now. If you see that, it's been like shining as it was before the Clog. So let's work on cleaning the other part of the hot end. So this is a base that we got, a rectangular base. So again, we have to hold the hot end since the temperature is still 215 degrees Celsius. Just handle it carefully and just nice and slow take the filament off and see you are able to do it. And see, we got a shiny surface over there back again. Be cleaning a little bit more. You may can use a little bit of brushes if you want to do it, but it should be all good with just the paper towels. So this part is all good. The front is good. The left side is good. So let's do a little bit on the right side. Right in here. Just make sure you don't apply any pressure on the wires. We'll do the cleaning a little bit on this side. This is good too. And for the bottom part, it seems like that has already been done, but we'll do a little bit of that with the cloth. And there's some wires. Try if the filament comes off easily, that's better, but if it doesn't, just don't worry too much about it. So we'll be seeing that there is something in here. We're going to use a small plier for that. It's just the wire cutter, and see if we can take off the small things from there. And let's do it. Yep, the wire should be okay with that because it doesn't have that amount of filament as it was on the extruder. So it should be okay. Let's try to do that with the cloth. Nope, we won't apply much pressure on it. It looks good. Yep, that should be it. So far it looks like we already cleaned the major part of the hood end. So now we're going to be working on assembling it back again. Got it. Alright, so we have removed the clog for the day, and now I'll be working on the calibration. Just gonna do a first layer calibration, which just let us know that how low the nozzle we need, because we disassembled the nozzle. Now we just fit it back again, but we don't know whether it's at the same end or it's low or it's either too high. So we're gonna be doing the first layer calibration that help us to do our future prints, and we are all good for today.